Hello, everyone. How are you? I know Dino Fun, nobody's here. How's everyone doing today? Of course, it's me, Shannon Joy, broadcasting from home today because, oh my gosh, got back super late last night, about, I want to say 12:30 p.m. Eastern time after like a 12-hour flight from Amsterdam. And it was great. I just could not bring myself today to get into the studio and do the hair and the makeup. Everything was a wreck. And so, yes, I am doing some laundry right now. And I want to welcome you all to the SJ show, broadcasting live from my home today, not from the Joy virtual studio. Annie is off today as well. So I am self producing, no prep, just you and me in my home. And we do this every so often when I can't make it to the studio. And yeah, 4 days of traveling. It was an absolutely grueling schedule in Amsterdam, but we accomplished some really important things for the cause of freedom and liberty. And I made some amazing connections. As you guys know, it was a big court case that we covered. I was the only American journalist there. And my mission was to bring the press conference to you live streamed from Netherlands. And I have to say, like, that took most of my brain power because everything is different in Amsterdam. Charging things is different, accessing Wi-Fi, it's slightly complicated, and I am pretty bad at technology, but we did it. We brought you, in fact, it was the only live stream at the event. Peter Stassen, the attorney, his press conference featuring Sasha Latipova, who is one of the expert witnesses that they are seeking to add to the plaintiff's claim. And then also Dr. Joe Sansone was there as well. Andrew Briggan, as you saw, was there as well. I don't know if he got up and spoke, but really a lot of great people. I met a lot of great people, and I'm going to give you some updates today on the show. So let's do a formal welcome. Welcome to the Shannon Joy Show, broadcasting live from the Rumble Creators Studio right here in my home. We are also live on Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, great to see you. On YouTube, we should be on Substack, Spreely TV, Roku TV, not Facebook. We keep getting kicked off Facebook, but we'll have to check on that for tomorrow. And for those of you who are watching or listening from the Shannon Joy podcast, thank you so much for downloading the SJ podcast. Please give us a 5-star review and a great comment or recommendation, because that helps us with growing the podcast platforms. So let's say hi to all of you on the Rumble live chat. I see you, Bill Benz. Great to see you on the live chat. Dino Fun, great to see you. Chronozone 777. We have Be My Valentine. Hey, Shannon, it was great to watch your report. Thank you so much. Fidget Guy, great to see you as well. Front page of Rumble, Dan Bongino, Mark Levin, Steven Crowder. Well, listen, I appreciate Rumble. The Rumble boys, I call them, they help me with all things technological, and they actually trained me up to do the live stream in real life from my phone last week. So, they're great. Listen, I am a much smaller platform than some of the big guys, and that's what happens when you're independent. It's not easy, but you have to figure out a way to platform yourself and cut through the clutter, and we try to do that every day here on the SJ show. So today for the agenda, and I hope to take some of your comments and questions about what went down in the Netherlands. LT Oracle of Truth, I see this. This is actually on my agenda to talk about from LT Oracle of Truth. Shannon, did you watch the Naomi Wolf and Derek Rose debate? I did. I have some comments on that. We're going to just talk a little bit about the news of the day. I'm not going to go in too deeply because I don't have show notes and I don't have an agenda, and we're just going to be loosey-goosey here today on the show. We're going to look at larger, umbrella issues, and then we'll dial in future shows. So we're going to go over, there's a very important interview. Well, first and foremost, the two big agenda items today. I'm going to give you a full overview of what happened in the appeals court in Amsterdam and why that is relevant for the cause of the COVID vaccine injured and medical freedom in general. So really important items. This case is likely the closest we will be able to get to compelling Bill Gates, Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, and Mark Rutte, who was the prime minister of the Netherlands, and also Dutch officials, compelling them to come to court and show their faces and argue, or at least have to defend themselves against the claims of the plaintiffs, which are being represented by Peter Stassen, who is emerging as a truly brilliant international civil rights attorney out of the Netherlands. So we're going to go over that today, and I'm going to bring you some of the perspectives of Fiona Rose Diamond, who is an amazing organizer out of the UK. And I'm working on getting Fiona on the show tomorrow to go into this even more deeply and talk about the international, a global battle. Citizens in the UK, citizens in the Netherlands, in the United States of America, in Canada, across the globe, as we battle for the right to decide what happens to our bodies, as we battle for the right to not be propagandized or emotionally or psychologically manipulated or tormented by our own governments who are working together. We first saw the infrastructure, that global infrastructure, in real terms during COVID-19, and this is why the lockdowns, the mitigation, the even the language from officials across the globe was all the same. It was because this was a centrally controlled military operation coordinating over multiple continents, primarily deployed in Western democracies. So this is why everything was the same. 6 feet social distancing, masking requirements, vaccine requirements, all of the language that they used to frighten populations into mass lockdown and compel them or trick them into accepting vaccines, which ultimately injured a large number, up in the millions, if not tens of millions, across the globe. So, this is what we really need to be focusing on. And the reason that we are now being threatened with World War III, global economic collapse, higher gas prices, inflation, the reason that we are now in another phase of this is because we haven't held them accountable in the first place. So it was a crucial error by the medical freedom community, the people who rallied behind Bobby Kennedy Jr. in the alignment with Donald Trump, because he was the guy who locked us down in the first place. And there was great hope that there would be change here. That didn't materialize because we are giving them too much time. We're trusting the plan. And this is allowing them to barrel on with what Catherine Austin Fitts talks about and what she talked about in a very good interview with Tucker Carlson, the control grid, the digital control grid. And they're moving at an accelerated pace towards that right now in the U.S. through a series of executive orders, emergency declarations, and the Genius Act and the Clarity Act. So this case is incredibly important, and that's why I want you guys to really understand what happened. It was why it was so important, I think, to travel to the Netherlands. So we'll get into all of that today. I also want to give you an update on the Summit for Truth and Wellness. We are 10 days away from the 4th Annual Summit for Truth and Wellness here in Rochester, New York, and we have fewer than 80 tickets left. So this event is absolutely going to sell out. If you haven't gone to theshannonjoy.com, that's theshannonjoy.com to get your tickets, I want to encourage you to do that ASAP. This is a live event. It is a private event. It is being held right here in New York. We're welcoming Dr. Mary Talley Bowden live. She's flying up from Texas. Sasha Latipova live. She's flying in from the West Coast. And of course, our keynote speaker, Dr. William Makis, who will be traveling from a location undisclosed. And this is because the persecution of Dr. William Makis has intensified exponentially in the past 5 days. And I'm not sure if you have seen his posts on Twitter and what he is pushing out, but the Canadian government and the government of Alberta is threatening Dr. William Makis with up to 3 years in prison, and threatening to imprison him within like 48 or 72 hours. It's insane what is happening right now to Dr. Makis. And so this summit, it's unbelievable, the timing of all of these events and the mission of this international order to suppress William Makis and what he is doing. He is helping thousands and thousands of citizens from the U.S., internationally, and Canada heal from cancers. And I have to be careful with my words because the limitations that they're putting on William Makis today are extreme, and it's going to impact what he is going to be able to discuss with us at the summit. But we are going to discuss the legal persecution. He is going to be there. And this is something that you absolutely cannot miss. This is another, I think, this is going to be another historic gathering. And I'm really thrilled to welcome a team from Clout Hub. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Clout Hub, but it's a great organization. And the CEO over there, oh gosh, why am I blanking here? Hold on. Let me bring this. See, I don't have my notes here. And Todd Callender. How did I forget his name? Okay, everyone knows Todd Callender. He's an amazing international attorney. Did great work during the lockdowns of 2020, advocating for those who were opposing the COVID lockdown protocols and the forced vaccines. And so Todd has built an amazing community over at Clout Hub, and they're sending a team of 5 to Rochester to be here to help us with the audio, visual, and just really important discussions. So I want to encourage you guys, if you have not gotten your tickets yet, please do so. They are going at a rate of about 10 a day. So the velocity of registrations has accelerated, and I think we could potentially in the next couple days be completely sold out. We have a limited capacity because we have changed the venue. So please go to theshannonjoy.com. That is theshannonjoy.com to get your tickets right now. Guitar Lily, I love Todd Callender. I love Todd Callender too. And I think he's great. He's just the nicest guy. Does really great work. And, I did invite him, by the way, and I think he has another obligation. But you never know. You never know who's going to show up at the 2026 Summit for Truth and Wellness on Saturday, March 21st. So Zen women, we are going to miss you, but I can't wait to meet you. And, this is one of the reasons I went to the Netherlands. It's one of the reasons that I travel. I believe in meeting people face to face and having human, real connections. And it's one of the reasons that the summit is so important to me, meeting people face to face. Believe me, I've been able to engage in some very important discernment. And you guys can too in these type of events. It's very hard. We are so connected digitally, we forget about the actual human connections, which are very important. And that's why I like to bring everyone together every year for an event. And that's why I do the summit every year. And I think it's going to be another great summit. So for those of you who have already signed up, can't wait to meet you. I will be there. And I want to shake every one of your hands. I want to meet every one of you. We're going to have so much time to talk and fellowship. We're going to have a great presentation in the morning, and then we're gonna, start, doors open at 8:30, or 9. Doors open at 9. We'll start around 9:15. I don't know what it says on the website, but we'll be done around 12:30, and then we're gonna break, and we're gonna have a beautiful luncheon after. So Ralph the Flying Dutchman is with us. Todd Callender is amazing. Shannon, thank you for your efforts. CJP and great, Bill Benz and CJP Rumble are gonna be there. So excited. Mod Trend with comment, there was never a chance that Trump would turn on the pharmaceutical companies or any other billion-dollar industries, including the tech industry. Mod trend, this is what I have been saying since 2024. And the medical freedom movement made a critical error. This is why Brett Weinstein is all over Twitter raging, okay, refusing to apologize because the scales are falling from people's eyes, and there is massive backlash against Donald Trump right now. His base is turning on him at a breathtaking pace. And so the MAGA crowd, they're angry about the borders. They're angry about the Epstein documents and the suppression of the release of the Epstein documents by Donald Trump. They're angry about Trump's promise to end endless wars. Instead, now it is war forevermore. And that's Trump's language, not mine. More war in Ukraine, more war in Iran, a rapidly deteriorating situation, their chaos coming from the White House. And so many who voted for Trump are saying, this is not what we voted for. And this is why you're seeing a pivot by so many people within the medical freedom community as everyone is rushing to dump Trump. Now, I was the original gangster. You guys know this. I dumped Trump in 2016, about 5 minutes after he came down the golden escalator, because I saw the writing on the wall. And it's taken a long time for people to wake up. But yeah, it was very obvious from the very beginning that the guy who locked us down in the first place and did the bidding of the global tech pharma order was not going to pivot. I mean, they put him in office. So now we're in a worse situation because instead of having a front-facing opponent, right? Say we had a Kamala Harris or a Tim Walz. Well, they're terrible. But it is much easier to battle a front-facing opponent of liberty than it is to battle a Trojan horse or one who is going to come in from the side, a turncoat, a change agent, right? Because they confuse the situation, they muddle everything, and I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 12 years. I would much rather have a front. We get so much more done when we are all rallied around people who we know indeed are the enemies of liberty. But when you have a Trojan horse, someone like Trump, who pretends to be for America first, pretends to be for the little guy, pretends to be for truth and the American dream, but is actually on the DL doing the bidding of the deep state and the global order, that's incredibly, we've already wasted almost a year. And now the digital control grid has been accelerated, and it's coming in again. The calls are coming from inside the house. So this is why we're in the predicament that we're in today. And this is why these issues that we're talking about are important. So that's it for the updates on the summit. Do you have any questions about the Summit for Truth and Wellness and what's going on? I have to be careful with what I say about Dr. William Makis's situation right now, because of the aggressive actions of the Alberta government. But so I can't say much, but you will learn everything at the summit. You'll learn everything at the summit. I will say everyone needs to pray for William Makis, for his wife and his children, for the people who are providing him counsel, for the people who are surrounding him. There is a lot happening at some of the highest levels of government right now in terms of what is happening to William. And so we just need to pray for William and for the truth. It is so critically important. He now is in the process. I believe they have approved his license to practice medicine in Florida. And that process is moving forward. But there are things that need to happen in terms of his transition from Canada to the United States of America that are somewhat precarious. So he's so brave, guys. He is so courageous. And so just prayers up, and pray for the summit, all of our organizers. It's amazing. I had, 4 days of intense travel to Amsterdam to cover this medical freedom case in the Netherlands. Got home last night at about midnight, and here we are up again hitting the grindstone, and now it's literally 10 days till the summit. So I'm going to be working probably nonstop over the next 10 days. The team from AFA is going to be working a lot. So please pray for all of us. Pray for this summit, that we're going to be able to pull this off, and that everything is going to run smoothly. A specific prayer, if you guys can, audio and video. I'm having some hiccups there. And so we're in real need of audio. And so just pray for that. I'm working on that today. Video, I think we have taken care of. And so, we'll see what happens there. But thank you guys. Bill Benz, appreciate that. Zen Woman, thank you. And pray for all of the people out there that are outside of the two-party political paradigm, not left-wing news media or right-wing news media or Democrat or Republican or a part of this corrupted, uniparty, decrepit, disgusting system. But those from outside of the system, independents who are trying diligently to bring as many people as possible the truth, independent media that you might not always agree with on certain items, but an independent media that is earnestly pursuing the cause of truth, whether it's here in the U.S. or across the globe. We are in truly historic times, very confusing times, and you guys know the names of the people out there, the guests that we have here on the Shannon Joy Show. So let's go ahead and keep them in prayers. Please also, let's just take a moment for the supporters of the Shannon Joy Show and our advertisers. So just for a moment, there will be no ads today because I'm not in the studio and I don't have Annie, but please remember our sponsors. Could not bring the Shannon Joy Show to all of you without our amazing sponsors. If you are in the need of anything in terms of preparation and prepping, the satellite phone store, sat123.com/joy, is the website. That's sat123.com/joy. Everything you need, from generators to solar panels, satellite phones, bivy sticks, Faraday products, everything that you could possibly need for any situation, you can get at the satellite phone store, and everything is 10% off when you use the promo code JOY. So I love the satellite phone store. They are amazing partners. They've been with me for about 2 years, and it helps me when you guys patronize them. So later in the program, you're going to hear from our friends over at Schiff Gold, Peter Schiff, and also PCM and Associates, and a very warm welcome for the Wellness Company. They are coming on now as an annual sponsor of the Shannon Joy Show. They have so many great products, and I think my landing page might be up for extra special discounts for Joy, but stay tuned. We're going to have all those promo codes ready for you. Really thrilled to work with our friends over at the Wellness Company. So they are absolutely amazing. Did I hit them all? We have the satellite phone store. We have the Wellness Company. We have Peter Schiff and Schiff Gold, schiffgold.com/joy, and of course, PCM and Associates. All right, so you're going to be hearing from them a little bit later in the program. Again, as I mentioned, it helps me when you guys patronize the advertisers on the SJ Show, because it's really the main source of revenue, and it's how I keep the lights on. So, yes, Zen Woman, has anyone heard about the Syracuse pediatrician caught up with injustice too? Yes, Zen Woman, she has been on my program, and I can't believe I forget her name. Someone reminds me about her name. And thank you for reminding me, because I need to call her and invite her and Chris what is his name? I think it's Chris Davenport, who is her attorney, as honored special guests at the Summit for Truth and Wellness. So I need to do that today. I want to comp their tickets and bring them in, and I appreciate you, Zen Woman, for reminding me of that. They are threatening to take her children, because it's, the most insane story. And I featured her on the show, Zen Woman, about, I want to say, a month ago, and it was an unbelievable interview. So Fidget Guy, thank you so much for the $2 donation in all green. Is the Unity Summit, oh, here's a question. Is the Unity Summit primarily focused on mRNA vaccines? That's fine, but vaccines are only one factor. Not only the deadly poison, not the only deadly poison in our environment. Fidget Guy, we'll probably talk about all of those elements. I agree with you that air, water, food, there is a great poisoning happening, and Catherine Austin Fitts has talked about that often. But I do believe, and so yes, that all of those things need to be addressed, and we need to be cognizant of all of it. But there's only one type of poison that penetrates the skin, can be distributed throughout the body, through the vascular system to heart, lung, reproductive organs, and even cross over the blood-brain barrier, and that is an injection. So injections are any type of injection. Is wildly more toxic to any body, whether it's a baby's body or an adult body, than something that you ingest. There are all sorts of ways that our body is protected from environmental poisoning. We have skin that protects our bodies from environmental poisoning. We have our digestive system, right? If you drink or consume poisons, there are ways that your digestive system can filter that out. And so while that is important, I think the number one issue in terms of protecting human bodies from mass poisoning is to firmly establish medical freedom for every human on this planet, meaning any human for any reason at any time can decline any medical intervention, especially shots or vaccines, for any reason, and not be denied any natural right. And that needs to be, that needs to be our number one focus. And that is the focus of this Netherlands case. Shireen Ishmael, thank you so much, Qatar. Lily, I appreciate you for reminding me of Dr. Shireen Ishmael. She is the amazing doctor out of Syracuse who is being threatened with her loss of her son for standing up for medical freedom in her practice. So we will reach out to her for sure. So let's move on any questions, let me know. I'm keeping an eye on the live chat, but I do want to move on to the Dutch case and fill you guys in on what happened. All right. So tomorrow I hope to bring into the Joy Virtual Studio, and I'm going to be contacting her today. Fiona Rose Diamond, she's a UK organizer, brilliant woman, amazing organizer. She's responsible for some of the largest European protests in the dark days of lockdown that you saw, across your Twitter feed and you saw on social media. And I had the privilege of meeting Fiona. She is feisty. I mean, she is a sister from another mister. And we got on wonderfully. And I want to bring her on, if not tomorrow, at some point. You can follow her on Twitter. Her Twitter handle is CoviLeaks. I also want to encourage you to follow Sasha Latipova, her Substack. She is pushing out right now a lot of content regarding what happened in the Netherlands in this case. And a big shout out to Sasha Latipova. She was the driving force behind the media presence in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, including myself. She helped to fundraise to bring me to the Netherlands, which I really appreciated. And so if you can support Sasha on her Substack, that is amazing. Sasha is one of the expert witnesses. But Fiona had an amazing overview of what went down. She posted it out on Twitter, and I'm going to read from some of that here for you guys in terms of the importance of that case regarding medical freedom. Okay, because that's the biggest item that we need to focus on. There's a ton of news out there. There's so much confusion, so much chaos, so many headlines, so much bullshit, to be honest, being covered by people like Dan Bongino and Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes and all of the Bizarro con people, all of the people who shoved Donald Trump down your throats, okay? In 2024, all of the people who shoved him down our throats when we had the opportunity to have another candidate, maybe one like Ron DeSantis, who is not perfect, by the way, but didn't lock us down, right? In that time, all of the same people who convinced us to trust Donald Trump once again are now the people who are screaming and yelling and crying and stomping their feet. I mean, Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes had a cry fest about how sad they are that Donald Trump betrayed them. I mean, these guys, fast forward, if Donald Trump has the ability to run again, they will pivot so hard with their Trump derangement syndrome and back him again. It's ridiculous. So these people, they are shoving so much BS out there. Some of it is true, some of it is false, none of it is genuine, and none of it makes a lot of sense or will matter to you. It is overwhelming you with massive amounts of information, confusing you, confounding you, twisting everything so that you feel unsteady. And I would say that's coming from 99% of mainstream news media, left and right. We're trying to bring you the news that matters. And this is why I choose to travel to places like Amsterdam. But this is what Fiona had to say. Again, Fiona can be followed at Covey Leaks, and I'm working on bringing her in tomorrow for a full interview. But this is what she posted out on the day of the ruling. A ruling on today's appeal in Amsterdam. In the case against Bill Gates, Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, former Dutch PM, who is Mark Rutte, the media and health ministers, will be delivered on April 9th, 2026. So the hearing went forward. I was there for the full hearing and was able to listen in real time as they translated it. We didn't live stream it because it was in Dutch. But the final ruling by the judge wasn't bad. They have informed us that they will be delivering their final ruling on April 9th of 2026. This decision will determine whether or not the High Court will allow the District Court to hear expert witness testimony from Dr. Mike Yeadon, former Pfizer VP, and is probably the lead authority in the world on determining the toxicity of the COVID shots and whether or not indeed they are bioweapons constituting crimes against humanity that were rolled out by our governments. Sasha Latapova, of course, former pharma executive and researcher who has been featured on the SJ show many times. Catherine Watt, who is an international law expert and legal analyst. Of course, Catherine Austin Fitts, financial analyst and former U.S. government official. By the way, Catherine Austin Fitts was meant to be with us in Netherlands. She has stayed behind. She's here in the U.S. battling the control grid right now. Lots happening by the Trump administration to lock in the financial theft and plundering of every American through the Genius Act and the Clarity Act, among other pieces of legislation. So Catherine is organizing legislatures statewide and governors across the country to push through legislation to block what is happening at the federal level. That's happening in real time right now. In fact, I spoke with Catherine Austin Fitts the night before last night. She wished us all great luck. She's praying for us. But they are moving very quickly. Now, Catherine had a very important interview with Tucker Carlson. This is the second in 10 months. And I know there is some distrust about Tucker Carlson on a variety of issues. I understand that, and some of you have expressed that. However, I am thankful that Tucker Carlson has platformed some of the most important voices in this independent space, people like Mary Talley Bowden and Catherine Austin Fitts, among others. So the nature of the interview was about the digital control grid, and Catherine was able to explain how dangerous Trump and the tech bros, J.D. Vance now is being trotted out as they are moving Trump out, exit stage left for Donald Trump because he has lost credibility with way too many in his constituency. They are now creating a new kind of America First political faction that is obsessed with J.D. Vance, right? So whatever's going to happen to Donald Trump, whatever they have planned from us in the political theater that we will be treated to in the next couple months, the next actor to enter stage right will be J.D. Vance. He is a techno-fascist. He is a creation of Peter Thiel, one of the most wicked tech fascists out there and associate of Jeffrey Epstein. And so JD Vance now is being propped up. I want to warn all of you to omit him from any consideration. He's working with those tech bros to push in that digital control grid, and we're going to have to fight that. But Catherine Austin Fitts, with an absolutely critical conversation with Tucker Carlson, I recommend everyone watch it, regardless of how you feel about Tucker. Catherine delivered the goods in an extraordinary way. So we will be talking about that later, maybe next week on the SJ show. But if you want to understand the digital control grid, it's complex. And we are now in the financial and economic phase of that. As they are collapsing our systems, they're collapsing our money systems here in the US and across the West to force us in, to frighten us, lock us down financially, and force us into a new global currency world order that features digital. And so everyone needs to know how to resist this, and Catherine is going to be at the center point of how that resistance happens. So CM 1968, Shay, how come you are not in the Joy studio? I just couldn't manage it, CM 1996. I have been 4 days of travel. I got in at 12 a.m. last night and woke up this morning. I'm incredibly jet lagged. My house is a wreck. I have laundry. My life is a wreck. I just could not bring myself to do the hair and the makeup in the studio. So that is why I'm broadcasting. But I wanted to meet with all of you because, I mean, it's been a whirlwind couple days and there's a lot to discuss and there's a lot happening in the headlines. So this is my home. And yeah, and this is the beautiful thing about the Shannon and Joy show, by the way. I mean, we have a gorgeous state-of-the-art studio, the Joy Virtual Studio. I have an amazing producer, Annie, and we can do it up right on the Shannon and Joy show. But I can also do it up right here in my home. And so if the you-know-what hits the fan and we need to go lean, and I mean, I can always come to you, and we're platformed everywhere. So Facebook, Substack, Instagram, YouTube, the Twitter, Spreely TV, that's Roku TV and Apple TV. We are platformed on every podcast platform so you can listen via audio. And I do that on purpose so that if the you-know-what hits the fan, you guys can find me. And then like the backstop to that is my independently owned website, which is theshannonjoy.com. That's my number one connection to all of you, is that website. So if we get deplatformed everywhere, well, then we can all meet. And I can broadcast there as well. So you can access the SJ show anywhere. But I do want to encourage any of you watching right now, if you could go to my website, theshannonjoy.com, that's theshannonjoy.com, and sign up immediately for the SJ email list. It pops up right when you go to the website. This is my number one way to connect with all of you. So if anything happens, that email list is where you guys are going to be able to connect with me and I can directly communicate with you. We've built that email list up to over 52,000 of you have signed up for the SJ email over the past year and a half, which is extraordinary growth. And it's very important. So please, I encourage you to sign up for the e-blast. I don't clutter it up. But you will know when I go live every day, and we'll give you updates as to what we're doing and all the show notes. So that's what we do with the email and the e-blast. LT or Cold Truth. Did Dr. Mary Telly Bowden win some kind of election? They were talking about it on her show. Yes. Dr. Mary Telly Bowden puts her money where her mouth is, and she encourages everyone to advocate from the bottom up, which is why I love Dr. Mary Telly Bowden. And she ran for a local, I believe it was a board seat, some type of council or board seat or precinct chair. I'm not sure what they call it in Texas, but she ran and she won. And she is pushing through resolutions like with no pushback whatsoever. It's beautiful to watch, and we'll certainly ask her about that. I love that she did that. Congratulations to Dr. Mary Telly Bowden. By the way, she will be with us live in just 10 days at the Summit for Truth and Wellness here in Rochester, New York. So make sure you get your tickets at theshannonjoy.com. So very important interview between Tucker and Catherine. Make sure you check that out. And let's get back to what went down in the Netherlands. So Catherine Austin Fitts was one of the experts that we are advocating to include in this international case. So to go back, this case this appeals case in the Netherlands was to petition the High Court to allow the district court to hear expert witness testimonies from Yedin, Latipova, Catherine Watt, Catherine Austin Fitts, Dr. Joe Sansone, among others, in a preliminary pretrial evidence hearing ahead of the main civil case. So that civil trial, so this was a preliminary, this is basically what we did in Netherlands was basically we want to bring the best expert witnesses in the world to present the facts, alternative facts about what happened in 2020 with the lockdowns, the messaging that frightened millions, billions of people into accepting COVID shots, which then injured millions of people across the globe. And the issue with the facts is that every time we go to court, the only facts allowed in court are the pre-established narrative of the establishment. So it really is, it's an issue of allowing alternate facts, which are actually the true facts, to go up against the propaganda and the manufactured facts that are only allowed to be heard in most court cases, so that there can be an honest debate. And so far, in virtually every type of hearing that we've seen to try to establish damages for COVID vaccine injured, we're not allowed to bring these witnesses in. So this is really important. So the civil trial that we're talking about here was brought by 7 Pfizer vaccine injured claimants, and it's currently expected to take place sometime between May and October of 2026, though no exact date yet has been set. And in those hearings, this is where the courts have requested and required. So the courts have required Bill Gates to show his face, Albert Bourla to show his face, Mark Root to show his face. And Gates, Bourla, and Root have essentially been in contempt of court orders over any of these hearings. They haven't showed up, which is incredibly disrespectful. It's smug, and it's in contempt of court. And Peter Staassen argued that yesterday in this Dutch court and said, hey, judges, these guys are giving you the middle finger. They're giving us the middle finger. I am one attorney representing, all of these plaintiffs, and they're sending 9 attorneys, and they aren't even bothering to show up against your orders. Are you going to allow that to do that? Are you going to allow them to do that to you? And so that's going to be a sticking point as well, whether or not the judges are going to actually require. But this is the only case in the world where this can happen, where this could actually happen, and we could actually force them to come to court and defend what they did to these plaintiffs. And so that's why we're covering this case so closely. One very other extraordinary element in this case is now the revelations that we're finding in the Epstein files. Peter Staassen, the attorney, brought up the Epstein files in great detail yesterday in the hearing, or the day before yesterday in the hearing, because there's evidence now. We don't even have all of the evidence, but there is evidence now that Bill Gates was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to construct a global financial infrastructure to profit from pandemics. This is featured in many of the files that have been released and are going to be used as supporting evidence. In fact, they were presented to the court and to the judges by Peter Staassen the day before yesterday in this case. The Epstein files are going to be critical in proving that there was malice, there was intent to harm, or they were disregarding the intent to harm, and that they conspired to do so, regardless of whether or not they poisoned millions and injured millions in the process. Okay? So there is new evidence that has come to bear that is going to be very relevant in the case. And that is why these expert witnesses are so critical. And this is why we're fighting to include them, their expert testimonies. So to go back to Fiona's overview, CovaLeaks is, by the way, Fiona Rose Diamond. She is an organizer out of the UK. Met her in the Netherlands. She's phenomenal. Her Twitter handle is @CoveyLeaks. I also want to direct you to Sasha Latipova's Substack. It is Due Diligence and Art. And she has a full write-up on what happened in the Netherlands court case the day before yesterday. But Fiona goes on to say that today's hearing, it wasn't today, it was 2 days ago, but the hearing was not about deciding the case itself. It was about whether the court should allow an appeal against the refusal to examine key evidence pieces and hear from key expert witnesses before trial. The main lawsuit will proceed regardless of how this judge rules, or these three judges rule. But if the appeal succeeds, it kicks the door wide open to early scrutiny of the evidence, alternate evidence, factual evidence that now comes up against the government-approved and establishment-approved fake evidence that vaccines are safe and effective for all people at all times, for all things, right? That's all they'll say. The science proves that vaccines are safe and effective for all people at all times. There was a worldwide global pandemic and people were at risk. I mean, they are rote and they're repeating of the talking points. Those are the facts, the only facts that are being allowed for the judge to hear. And so we are asking that the true facts, and I mean, this includes dozens of studies internationally, dozens of studies, the VSafe data, the VAERS data. We now have clinical, peer-reviewed, double-blind, clinical trials or not clinical trials, studies that have now been released. We know mechanisms of harm. We have the Connecticut, the state data that was compiled by, oh my gosh, why am I breaking? John Bodwin. That he came out, and there's so much evidence out there that is not being heard, that is establishing as a fact that this was a government operation, a psychological operation, a fear operation, and a great poisoning. So that is why the allowance of these facts is so important. So she goes on to say, good litigators like Peter Stassen, who is the attorney, the lead attorney, don't walk into court with one argument and hope for the best. They attack from every possible angle. And he is building multiple legal pathways so that the case can't simply be shut down. And this is why Peter is establishing himself as a phenomenal litigator and an amazing international attorney on behalf of human rights. I mean, basic human rights. So the thought here is that you can build, or you should be building, multiple legal pathways so that these cases can't simply be shut down with one single ruling. If one argument falls, another survives. It forces the court to engage with the evidence, makes early dismissal harder, and compels disclosure, witnesses, and scrutiny. In complex cases involving governments, corporations, and media, each party has different legal duties, so the case must be constructed broadly. It's not chaos, it's strategy. That's what serious litigation looks like when the stakes are high, and this is what Peter Stassen did in the courts in Amsterdam 2 days ago. She goes on to say, lawyer Peter Stassen was an absolute Rottweiler, and he was, but a clear humanitarian in court. He held nothing back. He stated that Bill Gates was a Satanist in the Epstein files, protected by black cloaks, and that he should be charged as a criminal. He argued the global significance of this case and is pushing relentlessly for the right to bring expert evidence before the court. He made it clear that he intends to pursue this case from every possible legal angle, and that he will not stop until the evidence is heard. There are essentially two connected cases to this case brought by Peter Stassen and the 7 vaccine injured. Today's hearing concerned a preliminary evidentiary procedure filed after the main lawsuit. Both cases involve some defendants, the same facts, and the same legal team representing 7 Pfizer vaccine injured claimants, and they also have the same defendants. So all of these cases, both of these cases, are going up the same defendants. And again, this is why we have 2 cases, one with 7 claimants, one with 3 claimants, same defendants, same legal arguments, but he's pursuing it in multiple different ways and in multiple different angles. There is one ultimate objective here: justice, accountability, and truth. And from Fiona Rose Diamond, you can follow her at Covey Leaks. She leaves us with this. What Peter Stassen left the court justices with in his statement, this quote: "You, your honors, will have to decide who are the children of God in this room and who are the children of the devil." And that was very clear. His statement was just rock solid. And I want to thank Fiona Rose Diamond for all of her work in that great overview. So, my takeaway from the court case, the representation, again, there was one attorney representing these COVID-19 vaccine victims, and then nine attorneys in robes representing Bill Gates, Albert Bourla, and the Dutch government and Dutch media. And I will say they were incredibly smug. The contempt from the legal representation for the people, the injured, the attorneys, even the judges in this court was palpable. The smugness, they didn't even bring forth an argument. They didn't think they had to bring forth an argument. They had absolutely nothing to say except for that vaccines are safe and effective for all people. I mean, it was insane to witness. And the fact that these defendants are not even showing up for court shows how I would say arrogant these defendants are and how much hubris they have. And so it was a sight to behold for sure. And I'm really thankful for all of the work that Peter Stassen. I'm looking to bring Peter Stassen in on the SJ show. We'll see if we can get him in next week to talk to all of you. We're also going to try to get Fiona on the show as well. And Dr. Joe Sansone. If Dr. Joe Sansone didn't have my heart just as a guest on the SJ show, meeting him in real life and being able to spend some time with him was just a blessing. And he is one of the kindest souls and most earnest souls I have ever met. I just adore him. I adore him. Please support Dr. Joe Sansone. He's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You don't see him coming. He's funny. He's Italian. He's quirky. He cracks jokes. But his mind, he is a PhD. He's a psychologist, is just absolutely amazing. And this is why I am so into human interactions and not being afraid. Let me tell you, everyone's always a little nervous when we travel internationally and we all come together in one place, and everyone's giving everyone else a side eye. No one knows who to trust, even within the medical freedom community. We're all like, oh, what, it's just, and there's always this kind of discomfort when you put yourself out there in this way. And you guys know I've traveled all over the world now on a variety of different projects to pursue medical freedom, truth and justice and medical freedom, which is your right to not be a slave to the pharmaceutical industry or the biotech industry or the New World Order or whatever it is. And so, this, I just lost my train of thought. So we were talking about Joe Sansone, and we're talking about, human connections and why it's so important. But it's just absolutely critical to meet with these people, even though we're fearful. And even though sometimes we're afraid of each other. We don't know if we can trust each other. Like meeting people in person, like it breaks down every barrier. And Peter Stassen talked about that in the press conference that we covered live. I want to encourage you guys to go back yesterday, the day before yesterday. The SJ show was the only American, we were representing the United States of America, international representation there in the Netherlands. And it was the SJ network that was the only network to bring that press conference live streamed. Very badly, by the way. The sound wasn't great. The video wasn't great. I understand. Okay, it was just me, and I am technologically deficient. But that was my main mission, and we did it. So thank you, Jesus, for that. But Peter Stassen, so I want to encourage you guys to go back and share that presser and the press conference out with everyone you know. It's right here on Rumble. But one of the questions to Peter Stassen, the attorney, was, aren't you afraid? Your co-counsel. So there was another attorney, Arno Van Stossel, I believe is his name. He was the original attorney that brought this case. He is being held. He's in prison. He was just released from prison. He was held for, I want to say, almost a year in prison. There are no charges disclosed. We don't know why he was held in prison, but he was arrested and thrown in prison. And I think they thought that that would shut this case down. Peter came in then and took over the case. So, I mean, this case is just extraordinary in a million different ways. But, I mean, the people who are fighting for liberty against these forces of darkness, in many ways are threatened with loss of life and potential imprisonment. I mean, we see that happening right now with William Makis, who is going to be with us live here in Rochester, but is literally being threatened by the Canadian government to put him in prison for 3 years for helping people learn about treating cancers using things like ivermectin, fenbendazole, and mebendazole, right? Like, I know where to go as a journalist because it is the stories and the people who have the most to lose, who are standing up and speaking out in bravery and in courage, even though they are threatened with imprisonment. And Peter said, listen, I don't operate with fear. I wake up every morning and I'm still here and we're protected. And there's nothing we can do. If we live in fear, they win. And you just have to say, away with you, Satan, with the fear. Just say, I'm not going to be afraid. And that's what I do. When I get on a plane, I don't like flying, especially don't like flying across the Atlantic Ocean. I had no idea what I was doing in Amsterdam. I mean, oh my gosh, I was like a country mouse. It was ridiculous. Right? I felt uncomfortable the entire time. And a lot of us feel uncomfortable in our advocacy and in the thing that we're called to do. And everyone's called to do something different. Those of you watching today, you are called to do something. You might not have a platform, but you might have expertise in some area. You might be able to run like Dr. Mary Telly Bowden for a local office and start passing resolutions. Maybe you can run for a state legislature and work with Catherine Austin Fitts and place up barriers to the federal government and the big technocrats so that they can't put a database in your backyard. So they can't put flock cameras all over your town or village. And they can't surveil you. There's so much that every one of us can do. If we take our eyes off of the Dan Bonginos and the Alex Joneses and the circus sideshow that is the U.S. electoral process, the two-party political theater, which is completely fake, if we stop worrying about elections, as you all know, I have made the commitment. I'm boycotting national elections. I will not vote in national or federal elections. Not in 2026 and not in 2028. Certainly not the presidential election because they're fraudulent. They're fake. They put up fake candidates. We never have true choices. And even if we did have a real choice, we can't trust the voting systems. Period. We can't trust them. They're electronic. And we're not getting the truth about whether or not we can trust these systems. So here in the U.S., we're going to have to find a way to fight back this tyranny and to beat back this tyranny outside of the electoral system. And we can do it. The founders and the framers of the Constitution and the United States of America secured liberty for their people from the British government, which was the most powerful entity on the face of the planet after the Revolutionary War. And they did so without a constitution, without a Democrat Party or a Republican Party, without democratic elections, without a democracy, and without the legal system, right? So how did they do that? Through organization and activation and refusal to comply and civil disobedience, and in their case, violent disobedience. But we don't need violent disobedience in this case because they're not threatening us with tanks and guns and the military in the street. This is all psychological. Everything they're deploying at us is a psychological operation, a propaganda operation, a manipulation operation, and it is resting on our compliance. None of y'all had to take those vaccines, by the way. You didn't have to. Yeah, you might have lost your job. Yeah, you might not have been able to travel internationally, which was actually false. You might have had some trouble. You might have had some side eyes from your neighbors. Maybe you lose some money, some contacts, your friends, some family members. There is some loss involved with not complying. But I will tell you what, the people who did not take those shots are so thankful today that they didn't. that short-term pain has now resulted in long-term gain because we're not up at night worrying about what is, moving through our systems, the spike proteins and the mRNA technology and those things, right? It's going to be the same for the digital ID and the digital currencies. At some point, they're going to disrupt our system to such an extent that they're going to say to us, and we're going to be afraid, and there's going to be chaos, and there's going to be the fog of war and propaganda, and we're going to have a choice. Take it or don't take it, right? We need to be prepared as much as we can so that we can make the right choices. That's the point of organization. That's the point of strength in numbers. That's why you have summits for truth and wellness. That's why you go and you meet with people. That's why we never give up, right? You keep going. You pursue justice no matter what. That is compelled. As Christians, we are compelled to seek justice. God is the final arbiter on whether or not justice is delivered, but we are compelled to seek it. We're not allowed to give up. That's very clear in Isaiah and throughout the Bible. We have something to do here, and it's not stick a Trump sign in your lawn, okay? Because Trump is part of the system, and everyone sees it now. So what everyone is saying, Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, Brett Weinstein, Glenn Beck, Cat Turd, Dan Bongino, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, everyone who's crying in their soup about how Trump betrayed them, you had one girl that told you the truth from day one, and that was me. That was me. 2016, and those of you who have been with me for 12 years know how much this show has suffered. There's no pipeline for growth for the Shannon Joy Show if you don't pick a side, but I did that knowingly and on purpose, and we stayed small on purpose here on the Shannon Joy Show for the privilege and the honor of being able to come to you every day and tell you the truth. What an honor that is, and what a blessing it is that I can just come to you from my living room and tell you the truth. From my perspective, I get things wrong. You guys know that, right? But all of these other people have moneyed agendas. It's very clear. They're taking money, influencer money, whether it's from Israel or Qatar or pharma or the Democrat Party or the Republican Party. You name it. There are money agendas everywhere. And they're not disclosing that to you. As you know here on the show, if money is coming into the Shannon Joy Show, you know it. It's in the form of sponsorships and advertisers. And I disclose it to you. Okay? So I will never, ever pursue an agenda item and not tell you if there is a financial relationship between me and some organization. And 99% of my colleagues lie to their audiences. They manipulate their audiences. They take money on the DL from different organizations, maybe organizations they actually believe in, but they don't disclose it to their audiences. They make it seem like it's news analysis or it's biblical prophecy or political analysis. And they call themselves truth tellers, but they are deceivers. They're absolute deceivers. And they erase, the biggest problem, what they all do though, and this is what they all do in common. They raise your anxiety. They torment you with a relentless headline. They frighten you about the Democrats or the Islamists or the terrorists or World War III or this or that or the other thing. Constant frightening. AI taking over everything. The robots are coming. You name it. The aliens are coming. All right? It's a constant diet fed to you of fear and division and chaos. And they never give you solutions. The only thing you know what they point you to? The next election. The next political hero. That's it. They never empower you from the bottom up. They never tell you what you can do from the bottom up. They never help you. They didn't do anything for you during lockdowns. In fact, Alex Jones told his entire audience to get the shot because it was Trump's shot. He told them to take the vaccine because it was Trump's vaccine. And you can trust Trump's vaccine. That's what he said. And they do it over and over. And then they cry big crocodile tears. Alex Jones, what a joke he is. I can't believe anyone watches him. Bannon's another one. Boo hoo hoo hoo. Donald Trump betrayed him. Well, Donald Trump has betrayed you, I don't know, about 150 times. since he came down that golden escalator. And every time you go back to him, every one of them goes back to him. It's pathetic. It's weak. And they lie to their audiences, and it just makes me angry. Chronozone777, thank you for that $20 tip. I appreciate you. On the live chat, I back you, Shannon. Thanks, Chronozone777. You're amazing. Went off on a little rant there, but it's from the bottom of my heart. Because I'm really on, I'm on this, I say this all the time, but I am white-knuckled with all of you on this roller coaster. I'm a regular person, just like all of you. This is my house. I have a mortgage, car payment, kids in college, right? Solidly middle class, small on purpose. And, you know, I learn from all of you. And I'm so glad that it's this way. I'm so glad that we're able to do this together and figure these things out. There's a lot happening. There are like another dozen communities who have beat back the Mark Zuckerberg Manhattan-style data centers that they're trying to shove down people's throats, and it's amazing to watch. Catherine Austin Fitts is on fire with state-led legislation to block the digital control grid and the Genius Act and the Clarity Act that is being pushed by Trump. This is all bottom-up stuff, guys. And so if we talked more about this stuff, then we'd be way further ahead. But we always get distracted by the elections. So distracted by the elections. So that is where, so we did the recap on the Dutch case. If you have any questions about what happened in the Netherlands, now is your time. Or anything that we just talked about. If you're watching right now, please give the show, if you're new on Rumble, new to the chat, please say hello. I love saying hello to new chatters. We have a great audience today. We have almost 450 live viewers, which is awesome. If you are on the Rumble live chat, I can't look at the YouTube live chat or the Twitter live chat, guys, because I don't have Annie. So we're just going through the Rumble. But if you have questions about what went down in the Amsterdam court case, this is your time to ask them. If you have questions about the Summit for Truth and Wellness, this coming Saturday, 10 days away, now's your chance, or anything that we just talked about. I want to address that with all of you now on the show. And I think we hit everything. The Tucker Carlson, Catherine Austin Fitts interview, very important in understanding for you what's coming. And then, fascinating debate. People have a lot of opinions about the debate between Derek Rose and Naomi Wolf on the United States' involvement in the Iran war. And I found it to be fascinating. It was about an hour long, and it was a little contentious. As you know, I've featured Derek Rose on my show multiple times. Naomi Wolf has been an absolute warrior for medical freedom here in the States, and she's been on the show multiple times. And I do work with Naomi. She content shares my show on Daily Clout. So Naomi and I do have a small partnership there that is financial. So you should know that in this disclosure, because I'll disclose to you. But there was a fascinating debate between the two of them. I have to say, I'm coming down firmly on the side of Derek Rose. I mean, I am completely opposed to any American intervention in Iran. And we'll get into that next week. Maybe we can get Michael Yan on to talk about that. Naomi is promoting it. She was on the pro side, and she is supporting Trump's efforts in Iran, which, I love Naomi, completely disagree with her on this. But I think she's earnest in her opinion. I think, like so many, she trusts unbelievably this administration. And I think that she also, as someone who is, she's of Jewish faith, and I think that might have something to do with it. Maybe we could talk to her about that at some point. But I thought it was, to be honest, I thought it was a great debate. I thought they were both very honest in their discussion, and I learned a lot. It solidified my position, by the way, though I thought that Derek Rose did a phenomenal job, and I appreciate both of them being very respectful of one another. And so I thought it was great. I think they're both great. And I want to encourage you guys to go and take a look at that debate, because it's a good starting point, and it's very rare to be able to look at an issue in an organic way that we saw. So I appreciate Naomi for hosting that, and I appreciate Derek. I'm going to reach out to him today and see if maybe he wants to come on next week, and I'll reach out to Naomi as well. So let's take a look at the live chat. Trust the secret squirrel plan. I've never seen you on the live chat. Again, if you're on Rumble right now and you're new, please follow the SJ Show so you know when we go live. Please give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, or join the live chat. I want to say hello to you on the live chat if you're new. I see you, Bill Benz. I see you. CM1968. How much fun do you have in the Netherlands after the conference? It was fun. I will tell you, when I'm in a new place and I'm by myself and I don't have devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy, I tend to lock myself in my room very early. And I don't know, I'm just like, it's just something that I do, particularly when if I'm in a different country and I'm traveling by myself. But I will say Sasha Latipova is a ball. I had a great time with her. Andrew Briggan is super fun, amazing stories. We had dinner with Andrew and Fiona and Sasha and a few other European organizers the night before the press conference. And I mean, British humor is one of my favorite. I mean, they're hilarious. Unbelievable stories, and just great people, and they don't give up, and I love that about them. I also got some dirt, but I got some serious dirt, but I'm not sharing it because it's not time. All I'll say is that I'm not going to say a word. It was it was very interesting. So I had a lot of fun. It was absolutely a working. I mean, the flight, the travel was grueling. Flights, it was like 12 hours each. And then, I mean, the jet lag was crazy. And then we were up, each morning early. So when I'm going to have fun. Plus I have this Summit for Truth and Wellness, like in the back of my mind. And that thing gives me like 168 new gray hairs every year. I don't know why I do it. Every year before the summit, I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I do this? There's so much organization, and it's just so much. And so I'm actually not going to relax at all until the summit. But I can assure you I will be having a couple cocktails after that summit when it's over, because I'm not telling you, Guitar Lily. I shouldn't have even mentioned it. I should not have even mentioned it. It's something that needs to come out, actually. It is something that I probably will be talking about in the future, but I don't have enough. And it is something that's important, actually. And it is in relation to the Epstein files. It is in relation to the medical freedom movement. And that's all I'll say. And it is kind of a well-known massive elephant in the room that everyone kind of talks about, but no one wants to be the person to bring it up. So those are your hints, CJP Rumble. I'm going to wait until it's appropriate. Very often I know some things and I just wait on the Lord. I know, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'll know when it is right and if it is right. And when that happens, I will spill the tea in due time. Right. And sometimes it's not relevant, but I think that this is something that is going to be coming out, and it's somewhat important. So yeah, but Sasha is a dear friend. She's one of my absolute favorite people in the world, along with Dr. Joe Sansone. So you guys get to meet them coming up here soon. What time is it? 1:42. Well, it's about time. We've gone for about an hour and 17 minutes. Thank you for everyone. We must be getting, I wish I was on the Substack live chat right now. If you guys are watching on Substack, because we're getting big numbers. We're up 470 live viewers, but they're not coming from Rumble. They're coming from somewhere else. I don't think they're coming from X. They might be coming from X. They might be coming from Substack, but I'll go back and take a look at it. But for those of you, who are new and watching, thank you so much for joining us today. The show doesn't usually look like this, broadcasting from my home because of the pretty grueling travel schedule that that I had over the past couple days. But tomorrow we'll be back in the Joy virtual studio, and Annie will be with us producing the show. And I'm hoping to have Fiona in to talk more about the cause for medical freedom. So this is last call for questions and comments. We're going to go for another 5 minutes. Last call for questions and comments here on the SJ Show. Again, if you appreciate the Shannon Joy Show, please remember our sponsors. I want to talk about our good friend Peter Schiff, who has come in as, this is the Shannon Joy Show is the very first show that Peter Schiff has ever sponsored. And you all know Peter Schiff. He is founder, CEO of Schiff Gold, and a sponsor of the Shannon Joy Show. Everything you need to begin to learn about hedging with gold and silver, you can find at schiffgold.com/joy. That is schiffgold.com/joy. Gold, silver, whether it's physical gold and silver or gold and silver to back your retirement. He also has T-Gold and silver, which is a really, really interesting new development that we're going to have him on probably later this month to talk about. Everyone is moving into metals right now. It's slightly volatile. Things are moving up and down, but in essence, metal, gold and silver, though there have been some volatile days, they are holding very steady, and we are seeing something massive happening. So this is why so many people are getting in to the shinies, as JG_Nuke Jack Gamble likes to call it. We love the shiny here on the Shannon Joy Show. If you want to learn about the shiny and help the SJ Show, please go to schiffgold.com/joy and fill out, there's an email form you fill out. Someone will contact you. You can call them. There's like an 800 number, a toll-free number on my site. But going through my portal, so schiffgold.com/joy, shows Peter that you guys are coming from this show. And it really helps to keep the lights on here at the Shannon Joy Show. So if you are thinking about hedging at all, if you are thinking about moving in to the shinies, into metals, make sure you go through Peter. And listen, I have been using Peter Schiff for over 10 years as a source for my show, which is unbelievable. His content is phenomenal. He is an amazing instructor and teacher. He is from the Austrian School of Economics and has been proven right in so many areas. So I don't know why anyone would want to give their business to anyone else than Peter Schiff. I mean, he's the guy who has been there from the very beginning. So let's reward him and support him, and also by default support the Shannon Joy Show. So yeah, please help me out there, guys. That helps, as I mentioned. Keep the lights on. Pat 1254, great to see you, Pat 1254, on the live chat. First time I've ever seen you on the Rumble live chat. I'm so thankful you're there. Gold's not going up. The dollar is going down. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's true. But gold has been designated as a P1 asset internationally, and many are speculating. I don't even think it's speculation. It's becoming very clear to everyone that in terms of the new kind of monetary benchmark, it's going to be metals, and so that's why everyone's getting into it. That's why you're not seeing anything about this on MSNBC or Fox Business or mainstream news media, because now, like right now, all like the rich people and the connected people are getting into it on the down low. They're trying to get you guys into digital assets or Bitcoins or private equity. I mean, they're trying to get you to invest your 401k in, private equity, cryptocurrencies, Trump meme coins, Melania meme coins, and like Bitcoins. So that's where they want all the little people to go, because they're going to rug pull us, right? All the people who know what's going on are like super stealth because they know at some point there's going to be, exponential growth. And that's like the only analysis that makes sense to me. And so this is why, as you guys know, this is not financial advice. I'm in everything. I'm just more heavily leveraged in metals. That's just the truth, and that's where I am. So you know, I'm not giving you financial advice, but I am in the stock market. Don Pullano, PCM and Associates, is my financial advisor. He's also a sponsor of the Shannon Joy Show. So if you want a liberty-loving financial advisor you can trust, who I trust, I've been with him for like 20 years, and who supports the show, check Don Pullano out. PCMPullano.com is his website. So he handles, like, you know, the market that I'm in. And I'm in, what am I in? Very boring stocks and bonds and international and stuff like that. No tech. I am completely divested out of AI, tech, anything. That's all a bubble. Bitcoin, no way. There's no way. Most of the coins, like, we are gonna have some type of digital technology for transferring monies and currencies moving forward. But what we need is a lot of competition. We need a lot of competing markets, and then people will choose the ones that we want. What we don't want is something centralized, and that's what we're fighting against. So we have yet to see what is going to emerge in that area, but I'm staying out of it completely. So as you guys know, I'm an all of the above kind of gal with what little I save. So I'm not rich either, but what little I have, a portion is in physical gold and silver. A portion is in a gold and silver backed IRA, both of which I do through shiftgold.com. I am in real estate, a little bit of real estate, not just our property here, but some country property. We are in the markets, like, the stock market, through my, what do I have? I think I have 401k, something. No, I have the IRA through Dom, and I have some cash too. So I'm into cash as well. So that's really, I don't really know what else anyone could do, is just spread it all around a little bit and hope for the best. You're not going to win on everything, but they're trying to destabilize everything. So this is why, at the very least, Ray Dalio, all of the big, even the big institutional investors now are recommending, this is extraordinary. Some as much as 30% of wealth in metals, like physical metals. So what does that tell you? That's extraordinary. They weren't doing that. At all, even 8 or 9 months ago. This is all very new. So that number, 30%, that tells you something. And the fact that all the billionaires are like building their bunkers, like they're planning on something. So yeah, it's crazy. So let's see. Ranger Niner, great to see you on the live chat. You're brand new as well. Precious metal hoarding. Oh no, that's Mr. Worthless Eater. The fake ear shooting was an ear piercing for Trump. Oh, interesting. To serve the slave master. He's now a lifelong servant. He couldn't go public to pierce it. The ceremony was held on the same day of the shooting. Well, Ranger Niner, I don't know about that, but I know there is a lot of speculation that there were some shenanigans on the day of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and I'm not going to say any more than that. Miracle ear, that's hilarious. CJP Lump. Dino Fun, I see you. Yeah, Mark the Regan, gold and silver are independent of our corrupt system. That alone means that we should have and own it. I don't disagree, right? It's hard to know what's going to happen, but the best you can do is kind of, spread everything around. That's all I can do. And of course, I have my people, Peter Schiff. So that was one long endorsement for Peter Schiff over at Schiff Gold. By the way, sponsors of the Shannon Joy Show. But I'll tell you what, it is a real blessing to work with people that I absolutely trust, that I use as sources, that are great to work with, and actually have products that I love and I use. That makes it a lot easier. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. It is we are just about at 90 minutes, and that is typically the SJ show. So we went organic today, self-produced from my home. For those of you who are new, thank you so much for being with us today, and please sign up for my daily email at theshannonjoy.com. That's theshannonjoy.com. It's how I keep in touch with all of you. Please consider supporting our sponsors. It keeps the lights on here on the SJ Show. Tomorrow, we will be back in the Joy Virtual Studio with Annie, our producer, with a fully produced, professional-looking show. And we have a lot to cover. Some of the areas that I broached today, we will be covering tomorrow, and we will be doing, as usual, news of the day and other items that you're not going to see covered on any of the other mainstream media outlets, because they're all taking the payouts from AIPAC and Israel and Qatar and Big Pharma, Big Tech, Big Bitcoin, Big Government, Big Republican, Big Democrat, you name it, everyone's on the dole. And if I were on the dole, you would know it, because I would disclose it. So I'm not. So this is why I'm able to maintain that independence outside of the two-party political system, and I feel very blessed every day that I'm able to do that. By the way, on Friday, we are going to be doing again, I don't know if you guys saw this, but we're going to do Coffee and the Bible again early. So this is something new, and I really like it. It is for Rumble Premium subscribers only. It's one of the ways that I meet my requirements for Rumble Premium hours broadcast, and I think this is it. We every so often we'll do the midday matinee. That's it. You know, we watch a documentary or a matinee together on Fridays from the house here. But last week we did a morning. We did like 8 a.m. maybe or 8:30, and it's Coffee and the Bible, and it's a little Bible study. I don't separate my faith, but I don't bring my religion or my faith often into my political analysis or my cultural analysis, because I think it's manipulative, and I hate it when my colleagues do it, because it's manipulative. I don't like it. But as you guys know, I'm a God-fearing woman and a believer in Christ. I've been a Christian for, well over 45 years. And I really like having a little Bible study with you. So I think it makes sense to put it behind the Rumble Premium paywall. And then we can come together. That way it's like my number one Rumble kind of P1 audience, people that I really trust. And we can just talk about a little bit of scripture, have our coffee together, and do a little Bible devotional. And for those of you who are interested in that, if you are believers, you are welcome to join us. And even if you aren't, if you're an agnostic or an atheist and you just want to check it out and maybe, I don't know, see if it's something that you might be interested in, you're welcome to come as well. So that will be on Friday morning this week. And so we will start probably around 8:30. No hair, no makeup. I usually have my jammies on and my coffee, and it's super fun. So we'll do that right here on Friday. So mark your calendars on that, and I will try to push out an e-blast on that so that you guys know when we go live. Okay? So that's it. I know, Zen Woman. That's okay, girl. I see you, Zen Woman. I get it. Listen, no problem. All right, guys. Ranger Niner, thank you for being with us today. Mr. Worthless Eater, you are amazing. Max Glitman, so glad that you're here. LT Oracle of Truth, Mark the Regan, Fidgety Guy. Who else do I want to say thank you? Mod Trend, you guys are great. And for everyone who is watching on Substack, thank you so much. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I really appreciate you. On the Twit, I appreciate all of you. I'll go back and take a look at your comments. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and we will be back tomorrow to do it all again right here on the Shannon Joy Show. See you soon.